What's up, everybody? It is D to the J with a roll away, and it is time for another exciting episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. I'm your host, D to the J with a roll away. We are live on the Disability Global Broadcast. We are live on Let Go Radio, and most of all, we are live on StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, and the Three Amigos like page. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show, and as you come in, we have a very special guest today. We'll have another guest join us later as a surprise, actually, because this young lady's story is amazing, and some of the things that she has to talk about will blow your mind. So we're going to bring her in just a moment, and I'm going to introduce her. And I'd like to bring in Miss Sharey to the show. We met a
No.
couple of weeks. We met a couple of weeks ago, and she basically was telling me a very interesting story. But I'll let her share just a little bit about herself. And for those of us who don't know you, Miss Sharey, if you would go ahead and tell us just a little bit about yourself and where you're from and what you'd like to share.
Okay, I am from Delaware. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm an advocate for myself and others with disabilities.
Mhm.
That's my life.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Can you tell us what type of cerebral palsy you have?
Oh, I have cerebral palsy, but I do not have s- um I have spastics sometimes, but it's not regularly. But yes, I was born with TP, and
Okay. So does it affect your lower and upper extremities, or is it
it affects my ability to walk. I have to walk with a walker, and I use a wheelchair and crutches. But mostly, recently, since I've been home, I usually just walk around the house, wall, and my weight. In the
okay?
community for long distances, I use this wheelchair.
hmm hmm So that's kind of how like I used to be. I used to be up on crutches and a walker most of the time. I know a lot of friends of mine that do the walk around the house by holding on to the wall, that kind of thing. Um, so now you talked a little bit about advocacy, but you told me um, a story that happened to you, and I kind of wanted to get into this because when this happened, I was shocked. Number one, because of where it happened and actually what happened with it. Can you do me a favor and kind of talk a little bit about um, the show you went to go see and what happened there?
Okay, well, last week my husband and his friend were supposed to go see Tracy Morgan comedy show at the Grand House Delaware. And the
hmm
reason why this didn't happen was because we were told we would have to pay double the price for seats because he supposedly needed a companion. So you had to pay for his friend seat, a companion seat, his own seat, and a companion seat. So basically, you would have had to pay for 4 tickets for one show for two people.
Okay, and how did the event determine that this had to be done?
Actually, I spoke to her and she said, um, I don't remember her name right now, like I was telling you
hmm
previously, but what she said to me was, in her exact words, well, this is policy, and I worked here for over a year. So in order for you to buy, you have to buy two companion seats plus your original two seats.
Okay.
That's what I was
Let
told.
let me bring in my boss lady that works with me, and I want her to hear this too because she's a big advocate in the disabled community and she does a lot of stuff. So let me bring Miss Winnie in real quick. And now we got the
Oh,
visionary in
I
here with
know
us.
her.
Uh huh.
I know
Yeah,
her.
Yeah, Miss Winnie ain't no joke, and
Hello.
I told her about this. I was like, you got to
Yeah,
hear this one.
heard.
You got to hear this one. So you basically went to the
And
event.
when my husband reached out,
Hmm.
no, we didn't end up going because we were told that we would have to pay for 4 seats instead of 2 seats. But my husband, at first, he was gonna let it go. He was like, it's not that big a deal. But then what made it a big deal is my husband reached out to Tracy Morgan's team through social media, and no
Hmm.
one said anything. No one gave an apology. No one gave a reason. And when I reached back out again, like I was telling DJ, to the Grand Opera House, uh, she put her boss background, and he tried to state to her again that that was policy. But the funny thing about it is, I had went to previous shows at this same venue and never paid for nothing other than my own ticket. So when did this policy come into play?
Exactly. Exactly. So let's go back a little bit. Now, you said that they told you and your husband that when y'all each bought a ticket that you had to pay for your seat as well as a companion fee. Is that right?
A companion seat, a
Hmm.
companion seat, which means another seat plus a companion seat plus another seat, and taxes and fees for the tickets.
Miss Winnie, have you ever heard of
So we
anything
had to
like
pay
this
for four
in
I've
tickets
your
and
life?
never
taxes and
ever
fees.
heard of that, and that literally should be illegal. It really should be illegal.
Um,
That I already
Reached
dislike a lot of things that they do within the disability community to those in the disability community. It's
mhm.
already a lot of things that we're fighting for, but then to have something like this, it's almost like it's knocking you from being able to enjoy yourself because of the cost itself. That's
Yeah,
insane all
cause
alone.
those tickets
exactly.
ain't yeah, those tickets ain't cheap. I mean,
Those tickets were $55 a piece, and I would
We
have had to
we
buy
just
four plus pay the fees for each ticket,
4 tickets,
and it
and
was
you
no
only needed
discount
two
being
seats,
given.
and you only needed two.
Yep,
and
yep.
she's and
Plus, I
the
had to pay
lady.
taxes and fees for the tickets.
So, and you told me, I think you
I
said it
had
would
to
have
end up
cost
paying
you.
$256.
Mm,
Two hundred and fifty
That's
six
crazy.
dollars and some change.
And that
for
was
two
Tracy
for
Morgan's show.
mm,
Instead of it being, and
a
when my
hundred and
husband reached
something.
out to the team, no one said anything. No one acknowledged anything. When I checked their website for the Grand Opera House, nothing indicates that you have to pay for companion seats on their website. Nowhere. But when
That's
you
what I want.
call in,
Mhm.
It's called the Great Opera House.
In
the
Delaware, yes,
Grand
ma'am.
Opera House,
Mhm.
and
Now,
it's
now,
in
and
Wilmington, Delaware. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
when you went in, or when you actually went on to buy the tickets, now you had asked for a copy of this policy, right? Because you said the lady worked there for a year, and she said it had been in in place as long as she was working.
Right. And when I asked, I did not receive it. I did not receive it, even to this moment. Like I told you, I took pictures of what I seen on the website, but I never got anything from them directly stating that that was the policy.
Wow. I would not. I truly would not let that go. As a matter of fact, I want to do some research on it myself because this should not happen. I mean,
Yeah, that's what
if it
DJ
happened to
said.
you, then it can happen to the next person.
Right.
You
That's kind of
know.
what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure if
So
she said she's been working there for a year, I'm sure it's happened to somebody else. I'm
right.
sure of it.
But see, like Miss Winnie was saying, I'm trying to figure out how they do this without being. That's illegal. You can't do that
It just
because
yeah. It just needs to be.
not
Without
everybody
being
in
penalized.
not I mean not everybody in the disabled community needs a companion.
Right.
I mean, we may want one, but
Exactly what we were
I'm not,
talking about.
but if I want to go by myself, I'm gonna go by my. I'm almost said something I shouldn't.
You
Keeping it
know
clean.
what?
Right. You gonna go by yourself.
I,
Right. And
I'm
that, and
almost.
you know what? That's what I honor about DJ. I promise you, I wasn't on the phone with DJ for 5 minutes. When I told DJ, he said, "That's some bull." He said, "We're gonna keep it clean, but that's some bull." I ain't never heard nothing like that in my life.
Yeah,
I,
that's crazy. Yes, Kayla, it's ridiculous.
and this one
And I
here. That's
don't
why.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Is the fight is just it's oncoming. It's like nonstop. It's like if you
it's
fix one
real.
thing, it's something else coming, and it's already you got to pay too much money for. Hey, hi Tony, you already got to pay too much more money for the accessible vehicles. There are not a lot of places where you can so
Exactly.
easily go find a nice place to live because not everything is accessible. It's just too much. It's too much, and this is just growing. It's a growing
Yep.
community because it's not just the disabled individuals that either have an accident or
Mhm.
is born like that, but you got the elderly, and it's a growing community. So it's like
Well,
Yeah.
this stuff should be in place,
the
so we
thing
won't have to fight so hard.
the thing that bothers me about this whole thing is this event is making thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars
Of
off of
dollars.
It's illegal. That should
off
be
of
illegal. That
of
Exactly.
able-bodied people, and I'm gonna call it like I said. I don't play this disabled card much, but today I'm taking the card out of my hand.
Man,
I'm putting the card on the table because
listen, listen.
if you got this much money and you got because all you have to do to accommodate a person in a wheelchair, let's be honest, you move a couple of seats, you wave your hand, you say bring some popcorn and some drinks and enjoy the show. Thank you very much. I
yeah.
mean, I'd have been like, can I get some
Like
backstage
I said,
passes?
I
I mean,
and like
something.
I said, I can like I told like I told DJ, I had been to this venue before for
Mm-hmm,
previous other shows in the past
mm-hmm.
and was never told I had to pay for double tickets ever. Never paid for double tickets, and I wouldn't if I'm not that stupid. Not saying, not knocking nobody who won't pay for it. Sheree just ain't.
Right,
Look,
right.
you
Yeah.
gotta.
No,
I
no,
ain't that
ma'am.
stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand. I am so sorry that happened to you all, and you were not able to go and enjoy something that you desire to want to do. And that's what makes it worse. Like it just is almost like a kick in the face. So you want me to pay two extra tickets for something I'm not going to use,
Plus taxes
Mm.
and fees.
plus taxes and fees.
And they tax and fee everything.
And
I,
yeah, it's just, oh my gosh, I'm
I,
so sorry.
not to mention the
It,
concessions at those places are already high.
right,
And
right.
I understand. I understand
Yes,
facilities got to
yes. So
make
you gonna
money.
get your money.
I mean, I understand facilities got to make money. I get that. But I remember when I went to Atlanta now, and I went to the Georgia Dome, and I got one hot dog, a Coke, and an order of fries. Then this was in
Probably cost you
2004.
five
Cost cost,
dollars.
cost me $26 for one hot dog with mustard.
What I tell you?
They charged me
Yup. You
$10
ain't
for the
lying
hot
about
dog
it.
by
It's the
itself.
truth.
I said, I
You
said,
ain't
look,
lying
y'all,
either.
y'all better bring some lobster and some caviar for $26. I ain't playing.
And that's why when I hit up DJ, cause my husband was just gonna let it go, and he's a New Yorker, so usually that doesn't happen. I'm like, let it go. I'm like, I'm getting ready to call somebody or say something to somebody because this is ridiculous. And he's like, well, I don't. It's not that big a deal. We can go do something else. I said, I know we can do, but then he's gonna get away with it. And when he goes to another venue or
Ex-
he comes back to Delaware, somebody they're
Exactly.
gonna do it again. They're gonna do
exactly,
it
Exactly.
again.
exactly. It's the principle behind it. It's definitely the
So
principle
that's
behind the
why I
whole
reached out to
thing.
you. Yes.
Yes, yes. We should write
Yes.
some
Two hundred
letter.
and fifty six dollars and some change for some
Yeah,
tickets.
and I could see if it was 4 people. That's the thing. If you had an assistant
No.
with
And that's
it,
the thing. I put a post on Facebook, and I said to my friends, I said, if you want to go, but then my husband was like, I either want to go with you or I'm with one of my best friends. I don't want to just randomly having somebody pay for a ticket when they don't even really want to go or have to change their schedules. So I was like, yeah, true that. And he was like, then he won't go. I'm not gonna give him my money. I'm like, trust me, they're gonna do it again to someone. If we don't do something, they're gonna do it again.
all right.
Taking a seat.
So let's
Yeah.
this comment right
Oh
here.
my God, that's crazy.
One college wanted my professional
See?
assistant to
Personal.
my personal assistant to pay a tuition because they were taking up a seat. Now, and the thing about these concerts is they can move seating. The seating is designed in most of the venues. I don't want to say all, but in most of the venues, if I'm not mistaken,
And
I've
you
been to some.
correct.
I've been to some concerts now because I had some. I ain't gonna say all the
Me
concerts I've been
too.
to, but I've been to some concerts and there've been some
Yeah,
wild,
me too.
some wilding out concerts. But the one
Me
thing I
too.
can say on a big venue, especially if it seats 10,000 people or more, it's wide and they move seats because some of them are just folded chairs. Some of them are not
Right.
even locked
Right.
into. But I guess
Exactly.
the thing that bothers me is why, when you ask for a policy that's supposed to be in effect, do you not get a written
I can
statement of that policy?
Do you have all your
because
written
it's probably ain't there.
information, or did you call?
Say that again, Miss Winnie.
I was
I
asking, did you
called and
call? Go ahead.
I
Go
called
ahead, Reed.
initial website, and there's nothing written on the website that says that's their policy. Nowhere. And it actually says if you are in a wheelchair that you have to call the place where you purchase the tickets. And I think the reason why you have to call is so they can get you to pay for them extra seats. And that's, like DJ said, that ain't right. That
So, did you print out the policy?
She never got it.
No, she said she
I
looked on the
actually took a
website.
screenshot of what,
Screenshot. Okay.
yeah, of what was on there. And it doesn't say anything about that policy. It just says if you're
Hmm.
in a wheelchair to call the Grand House to purchase tickets. But I promise it's probably because that's how they're doing it. They're getting you to call in for those extra seats, and that's
So it's
not right.
called what now? What are you keep saying? It's called what house?
The Grand, the Grand Opera House.
Oh, Opera House. Okay, the Great Opera House. Okay, gotcha.
All right, so but while we got a minute here,
Yes, ma'am.
let me ask this: what are your local news and media stations around you?
We have three usually stories like that. Well, not little stories, but they do stories like this. 6, 10. Those are like the channel
Okay, the
because it's
reason the
channel 6 news and
the
channel 10.
Okay. The reason that I'm asking is because there's two ways that I would think that we could handle this. There's actually several ways, but what we need to do is we need to get to a newspaper because newspapers they print out media, and when a newspaper gets a hold of a story, they'll choke it to death. And this is one of those that needs to be investigated by not only the local paper but the news media as well because I'm with Miss Winnie on this one. I'm 100% sure that there is some way or some form of illegality to this because if you don't have the policy that you say has been in effect for a year and no and you had if I'm not mistaken you said you had your friend go up and ask for the policy.
Yeah, I would have my friend Walter, my cousin Walter. I had him go up the next day to the ticket booth and ask, and she told him, well, a female told him the same thing. And Walt asked to see a manager or something. She was like, he's not available, and that's just our policy. Someone has to be available because somebody told you that. I was on the phone when he told you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what date was
Because you know
this?
how you can hear somebody asking, huh?
What date was this?
This date of the actual comedy show. What day was that? The 20, the 14th, was it?
Yes.
The 14th.
October the
The
14th.
14th of October.
And it was the Tracy Morgan comedy show.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about your situation, which is terrible. Like it's absolutely insane. And then you have the situation with the other young lady that said for her personal assistance had to they wanted them to pay a tuition to take up a seat. That's almost the same thing. You're asking to pay out more money. You actually asking them to pay money for something that they're not going to utilize just to be with someone that needs them by their side. So it's so much work to do in the community, and stuff come
And
up
see,
every
this is
day,
the
all
thing.
the time that you don't
I
know.
didn't need in my personal situation. I didn't need someone else at the concert. Someone else at the concert. The reason why I bought the tickets for my husband is because he did something nice for me a couple weeks before that. So I was like, I'm gonna do something nice for you. Which that mean I wanted to invite other people could pay for something. No.
Mm.
Not knocking anyone who needs help. I'm just saying, in my situation, I didn't need that.
Well, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier in the first part of the show. You can look at a situation and say, look, if a person needs help, the person that's going to the show does have to buy a ticket, and you can't go to the show for free. I get that. Ain't nobody trying to gyp
Right.
nobody. The
Right.
problem is you can't tell me
Exactly.
that you have to pay a companion fee, because that's when a footrest is going to come off and I'm gonna bust you upside the head. I'm just saying it.
Exactly.
Okay,
And I'm gonna be
so
real. I'm surprised my husband didn't take that method, but he was like, "Let's just let it go." And I'm like,
he did right.
"No,
He
I
Because
can't."
sometimes um you don't
I
have
mean,
to
I
get
know you don't
ugly
have to
with the
make a fuss
situation.
everything, but
Right.
Hold
Yeah.
on, let Miss Winnie
right.
get on this because she's got a good point here. Go ahead, Miss
You
Winnie.
know, so I commend your husband for doing that, and being humble about the situation, because there are other avenues that you could go
No, he
about it.
wanted me to let it go, period. And I'm not.
No, 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 no. What I'm saying is the way he handled it, and say, let it go that way, and not, make an issue about it at that
Oh
point,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
there are other ways that you can handle it without doing that in person. Because sometimes you can make it worse when
Right.
you right at it and go about it, that way, because you're mad. Sometimes you
True.
can
Very
walk away mad.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us don't
right.
want to, but sometimes it's the best thing to
Right.
do, because what, in your mind you can say, I'm going to walk away, but you ain't seen the last of me.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't seen the
Mm-hmm.
last of me, because I am going to get to the bottom of this, because it is the principle behind the whole situation. Now let me ask you this: so was it that you needed two open spaces, or a companion seat and a wheelchair spot? A regular
No, I
seat
needed
and a wheelchair
two
spot.
wheelchair spots, but
So you just needed two chairs to
yeah.
be gone.
Well, actually, yeah, two. Cause me and my in wheelchairs, but you can move the chairs. Even if they would have put me in another seat, that wasn't those seats. I would have took whatever they had, as long as I was able to see the show, and they wasn't
Okay, so this
having
is
it
what I
without me
see.
paying that extra money.
this is what I can't believe. Like, honestly, when you go into arenas and places like that, so you got the walking space, right? And then you got the stairs to go
And
down
I'm
and sit on the
able to
bench seats,
transfer.
right? So the spots up top is just fold up chairs. So all they had to do was just move two fold up chairs and let y'all go in it, go sit right there, right? But they rather try to tell y'all need to take up
Exactly.
two more spaces, which is insanely unnecessary and
Mm,
really just don't even make sense.
mm.
So again, it's the principle behind the whole situation. And again, I commend your husband for not putting up a fight right then and there, because you can write letters and you can make phone calls and you can address Tracy Morgan's team in a different way to allow them to know, listen, this is what happened. You know, so it's ways that we can reach out to find out, get to the bottom of this, because you would definitely not want to see somebody else go through that situation.
Okay,
That's horrible.
there are two comments here I want to pull up, and one by Kayla. I love Kayla to death because she's an advocate too, and I want you to read. It shouldn't matter. You could have needed one for another reason that you chose not to disclose. See, that you don't. One thing I love about Miss Winnie is, and I say this, she says this a lot. Everything ain't for everybody. Everybody ain't got to know your business. They don't have to ask you why do you need two seats.
And they shouldn't
Okay,
have to ask. They should not do it.
they shouldn't,
No.
because some chairs are big enough to where one seat ain't gonna do it. Okay, like I said, I got to widen it up a little bit. My hips got a little bigger. Okay,
Right.
but that's my choice, and eating
Right.
peanut
So
butter
does
and
my
jelly is my
husband.
choice.
Yeah.
So look, if I got
Him
if I
too.
got if I got to get two seats because I need one for each butt cheek, that don't matter. Okay, what I'm saying is
Right.
I could see if you needed two seats for a reason, but they can't tell you that you have to pay for one extra when you don't need it for each disabled individual. Now, this one here, this is the one. There's a couple coming in now. We got comments coming in Frederick, Maryland, at the, I believe, Weinberg Theater. I pay full cost for a ticket to sit in my chair. Now, think about that. I understand it, but you ain't sitting in a seat. You're sitting in your chair. Okay? So if your butt falls asleep in your
Right.
chair, not in a seat. So there was a comment earlier that I believe some disabled seating or handicapped seating or differently abled seating should be discounted somewhat because some people can't use those seats. They have to use their chairs. But this
Right.
is the one that gets me.
And I had no
Mm-hmm.
and I
Okay,
had no int-
so
well, my husband had no intention on using the seat. My husband was going to use his chair because he can't transfer. So he has to have the accessible seating.
This is the question right here. What would they have? Excellent question, Tony. That's my karate student. What would they have done if the event was sold out and they had no extra seats? That's it right there. That's the catch 22. He got y'all. He
Right.
got y'all. Because what you gonna do? Charge people when you ain't got no seats to sit on the concrete?
Right.
I mean, I'm just is that
Right.
you,
Right.
you see what I'm
True.
saying, Miss Winnie?
I'm with you.
Is that oh
well, let me say this. I don't think I don't feel that I don't feel they should be a discount, to be honest with you.
okay?
I feel if you're going in a movie theater, like we was at the movies today, right? So in the
Mm-hmm.
movies theater, you have the seating and you can pick your seat. So they had companion seats and they have open seats, right? Open spaces for wheelchairs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we choose the companion seat, and I always buy two open spaces for the wheelchairs. But because we've been in there once and we had a situation where someone was coughing, we now buy one extra seat just because we don't want nobody sitting on the other side of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I will do that. I mean, it's only
Right, I
$6.
got you.
Right? I'll spend $6. But I ain't spending no $55 for no empty seat. That ain't happening.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
see,
I
that's the thing.
feel
I
like
wasn't asking for no discount. I wasn't asking for no discount ticket. I was willing to pay full price for
right,
my 2 tickets. I just wasn't
right,
paying for 4 tickets. It didn't add up right.
right. So this is what
I'm
I'm
not
saying.
paying for
Because
four
someone,
tickets. I pay for 2 tickets.
hmm
Right, right, right. Now here's the thing. At first, I smiled at this, but I want y'all to think about something. All right, Kim said, "Or a loved one's lap." Right, sit on your. So now, some
no,
people.
no, 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 no. That don't even make sense. No, it don't. For children, yes. Little children, yes.
Yeah,
But not
yeah.
grown folks. Not
But
grown.
but
But
what?
now you
No,
want to take advantage of a situation,
Right.
and it's not right.
Right.
No.
no.
That
I'm saying
Right.
I'm saying if a person, say for instance, you and your husband are going right, and not saying that you paid for your seat and she paid for hers. Say you sit on her lap or she sits on yours, but yet you paid for your seats, okay? But then that's the same thing as them telling her that they're gonna, because that seat is available because she's sitting on your lap, they're gonna charge somebody else and let them sit in it. They're doing the same thing. Something is shifty here. Something is shifty to where they're taking advantage to get more money out of people that they shouldn't be doing. There's no reason to charge two people for four seats. I don't care how big your chair is. I don't care how big, how much space you
First of
need.
all, if they ain't gonna ask you if you're sitting in a stadium seat, if they ain't ask you how big you are, they shouldn't ask you how big your wheelchair is or anything like
No,
that. It
they
should
didn't
not make
ask
a
her.
difference. One seat should be for each person. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They shouldn't ask you no questions like that. Why do they want you to call? So they can ask you other questions? It's none of their business. I want two seats. Me
Mm-hmm.
and my husband. That's it. None of that other stuff should make a difference
Yeah.
because you don't do it for a regular seat.
No,
So
because
I have
they
an issue
told
with that problem right there.
the
Mm-hmm.
reason
So
why
what
they
I
Mm-hmm.
was
wanted me to
saying
call
about
is
the
so they
movie
told me
theater
they
was
wanted me to pay for 2 more seats.
I like this. It shouldn't even have to be called companion or aided seating. It's a freaking seat. That's all.
Oh well, that was her words. That wasn't my seat. My words.
No,
That was her
no, no,
words to me.
no. That's what
I
she's
don't. But
saying.
but I wasn't offended. I
I
wasn't
would
offended
I
by
would
how
have
it was
been.
worded. I was offended by the fact that she tried to charge me for 4 seats and we only 2 people.
yeah.
Here's the reason why I'm
Not saying I'm giving her a free.
here's the reason why I'm offended by her wordage, because you're not going to label me, okay? And that's what she's doing. The individual that told you you have to pay for companion seating. What if my companion is like, your husband or your daughter or your brother? What in the world is that? It shouldn't be called that. You're labeling it, and that's not right. We have enough labels in the disabled community as individuals that we have to deal with already. On top of a seat sitting in a theater
Right.
that you're going to label companion seating when y'all didn't even need it and all you wanted to do was pay for two seats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You should
I
not
agree.
pay for a seat you're not going to use. If you paid for the event, you only need to pay for it once. Period. That is exactly right. That's it.
Exactly.
I've never heard of anything like this in my entire life.
I haven't heard of
And
it
that's
either.
what
That's
and that's what he told me too. He said I've never heard of this before. And
because
obviously it's a thing, or at least at that venue it's a thing. Because when I've been to that venue before, and that's the thing. They keep record of how many of things that you've been to. Because she even asked me my name and my address, and she was trying to update everything. So you've been there before. So when did your policy change? Because when I was there before, I paid for one ticket for for myself. I didn't pay for no companion ticket. They didn't even mention a companion ticket. This is the first
Mm-hmm.
time I ever heard of it. Like I was telling my husband,
Mm-hmm.
because my husband has never been to a show at that venue before, so he didn't know. So he was like, "Did you pay for a companion seat before?" I was like, "No."
That's almost like they're trying to get you to pay for a service dog or something. I mean, and that in itself is illegal because that animal, you have papers that shows that that animal is supposed to be with you. That's like Miss Winnie saying
Yes,
earlier, they should never ask you how big is your chair. We need to move 2 seats. I don't care if you got to move 12. I, that
exactly. I paid
I,
for the seat
I mean,
or the space or whatever it is.
we had almost 80,000 people in Atlanta, and I was probably 45 feet from the stage. When my DM went down to that stage and got her ring, I busted through 93,000 people, said, "Move, excuse me, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you," trying to get to the front of the stage. And I took pictures and went all the way back. And nobody said one thing about, oh, the person in the wheelchair is rolling this person over, nothing like. Because if I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm gonna do something, what you're not gonna do is tell me I can't do it, because I don't care about your venue. If I'm paying money to go to your venue and see your show, and the fact that his social media team didn't even reach out, that's sickening to
Nope.
me.
They didn't respond or say anything.
Okay, so we're going to give the team a benefit
They
of the
didn't
doubt,
respond and
right?
say anything. And my
Why Miss Winnie? I got to know
We're
that.
going to give the team a benefit of the doubt, okay? And the
yeah,
reason I say
yeah,
that is
I want to know
because
that too.
they were on tour, right? So maybe they did not have time at that particular time to get to it.
Okay.
So you want to at least give that benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Now, however, if they're still on tour, you still may not get your answer. However, it don't hurt to continue to write a letter to the team and write another. See, you're gonna write that same letter, and you're gonna make sure that team get it. And then when
Hmm.
you know the tour is over, write it again and again, because you don't know, the team is busy and the team is making sure that everything is set up, everything is in place. So they may not have time for that particular type of stuff. I'm just saying they may not. But however, at some point, they got to see your information. They got to see it.
But
Now,
You
now,
know,
on top of what Miss Winnie just said, now this is what Kayla was talking about. Everybody doesn't know your disability. Just because you can walk does not mean you don't have a disability or you don't have CP, because every case of cerebral palsy is different.
it's different.
Is different. I had a situation where I went to a Yankee Stadium and I told them I wanted bottom seats because I can't walk upstairs. Bought the bottom seats. When I was told that I got the bottom seat. And then they questioned me because I can walk and don't look disabled. They heard me really quick,
What?
and I got a free ticket that day because I asked for my money back. It is not a person's right to question your disability just because you can walk. Because
no, she didn't say she got her asked for her money back. They gave her a free ticket and they gave her money back.
right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but that's what they should have done.
that was
That's
good. That was very
because
good.
because when you can't, when you make a mistake, you have to own up to it and make it right. We struggle enough in the disabled community with what we have. They don't know that the able-bodied people that use their bodies normally as they can use them every day don't know what we face, and we don't know what they face. But when you make it so that we can't do things we want to do because you question our disability by the way we look. I look sexy as hell, but you can't see my chair right now, okay? That don't mean that I ain't got CP, but I'm just saying,
Well, you crazy.
I I I hate.
Well, see, that's me off too, because you telling me it's policy, but you ain't showing me a piece of paper with your policy on it.
That's
And that's what had me.
Come on,
That I in it, but you ain't showed me nothing that's your policy. And I've been
mhm.
to your venue before.
See, this is where
And that's
uh,
what
uh,
had me kind of upset about it. Like,
right. This is where a show like this, if this gets out and this gets shared enough, and this gets back to that venue is going to go, uh oh,
are we going to
because
make sure we get to the venue?
see, that's
I'm
We're
gonna
going to do
even
a
tag the
three-way
venue
call.
in it. I don't
Let's
listen.
do a three-way
I
call
go to the
after this.
venue.
uh,
I'll go
hold on,
back to the venue. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
hold on. Go ahead, Miss Winnie.
I said, let's get on a three-way call after this or sometime tomorrow because we're going to write letters and we're going to make a phone call. However, a few years ago, 2018, I believe it was, we were at this church. And after the third situation, I did a live video called "A Disability in the Church." And we had some issues with in when we need, okay, we talk about the fold up chairs, right? Or just the chairs you could just move because all you need is one seat. So my daughter's in a wheelchair. All I need is one seat and move, and me and my husband sit in the other two
Right.
seats, right? So we went in this church, and the first Sunday we had this situation. They looking around like what to do, and I'm thinking, do I really gotta tell them people all they gotta do is move one seat? Like all you gotta do is move one seat.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's
Just
it.
that easy. And they looking around and standing around like, what do I do?
Like
And
it's the
I
worst thing
walked
in the
away.
world.
That is so
I
true.
promise you, I walked away. My husband looked, I was gone.
That you
And
showed
he
up.
came behind me. Then we went back the next Sunday, same situation. Then one guy said, well, maybe we just move this. Maybe that's what you do. So we had the same situation the following one. It happened three times. I walked away. I just walked away. But I promise you, the pastor and his wife ended up seeing me one day, and they questioned me about that, and they apologized. So it's work that needs to be done not only in the churches, because you can't believe how many families don't go to church because of situations in the
Yes.
church.
Yes.
And then you got people that don't go to places like the theaters and the entertainment places and all of that because they can't get it right and they make too many excuses for the community.
And then
And
people
it's not
are
right.
and the people are afraid to open their mouths. One thing I love about Miss Winnie, and I say this respectfully, one thing I
Oh
do not
yeah,
have to
I
worry
know. I
about.
follow her everywhere.
I
She do
want
not. She does
one
not have
thing,
a problem.
the one thing Miss Winnie will always do is use her voice because we have to stand up for ourselves as advocates. We have to stand up for ourselves as people
Yeah,
because here's the thing. Look at it this way. Everybody has a right to go where they want to go. Okay? Just because something is not accessible yet doesn't mean it shouldn't be accessible. Because if you want something changed or if you want something done, letting it go and walking away
You're
from
gonna
it
have to do something.
permanently is not going to solve the situation. Now, I do
right.
like what Miss Winnie said about
Right.
sometimes you got to cool off because sometimes when you return the short shirt in the store and they tell you that you didn't return the shirt, sometimes you gotta go and cool off for a minute. And
Yeah,
other
yeah.
times you got to take the receipt, you got to take it to the manager, and the manager
And
handles the
I understand what
situation
you.
because that's the
Also,
I
way.
understand what you mean, but the manager didn't even want to handle the situation.
Right.
That's why
That's
he
I'm
handed it off
lost.
to her.
Okay,
And I
wait a
heard him
minute.
in the
Let's
background,
let's
but he
let's
didn't say anything to me directly.
okay. Let me ask this. How did it? Okay, I might have missed this part. How did it get to the point of where you had to pay buy two extra seats? Was it you talking to somebody? Is that how it happened, or you were
Yeah,
at the window?
Oh
How
yeah,
did?
I was on the phone. I was on the phone with the young lady, and I was told that. And then when my cousin went back the very next day, they said she's gonna have to pay for 2 companion seats plus her 2 seats if she wants to be at this show. And
Why?
then when
Why?
we were on the
Why?
phone the
What
second
was
time, because I
said?
called,
What was said to make them
oh,
say it? You needed two extra seats. What was the point? What was the words
because they say that
used?
that's because they say that because they say that is their policy. And or if you are in a wheelchair, as we are, because we were using our wheelchairs, you have to pay for the 2 wheelchair seats and 2 companion seats. But mind you, it's not written anywhere. The manager told her that, or whoever, because he was in the background. He didn't get on the phone say anything to me. She just repeated what he said. And if you look on their website, it's not even listed there. That's what had me upset. Like, you haven't showed me anything. You're just verbalizing what I'm about to do. I'm about to $156 like I got dummy across my forehead. No.
I, Siobhan's got a good point here. She says, "I already know I'm sexy, so that's not up for debate." But you said a mouthful. Each case is different, and I have been plenty of times where someone has said to me, "You don't look disabled." To which I ask, "What does disability look
Does
like?"
disabled look like?
It don't
Thank
have a
you
look.
very
It
much.
does not have a look. My daughter's in a wheelchair. You would not know she has a disability if you ain't see her wheelchair. Okay, it
Hmm.
don't have a look. You can have a disability and not
Exactly.
have a walker or cane or walk different. It's just society makes it like that. My problem is this: it should be inclusion, period, all the way around. And what does
Hmm.
inclusion mean? It means the action or state of including or of being included within a group or structure. It should not make a difference if you're in a wheelchair or not in a wheelchair. One seat per person is all it should be. That's it. This is
And
crazy.
and
I am
and
still so sorry that y'all had to endure that.
and then you look and you wonder, why
You know this?
people with people with
I'm talking about
disabilities
her.
are scared to go places. You're wondering why people with disabilities don't talk. You're wondering why they don't use their voices, because we
But
get
then,
humili- hold on. We get humiliated left and right because we are not treated as normal people. We are treated as objects that have to fit somewhere. Let me tell you, I got butter, I got jelly, I got silicone. I will slide it and I will fit right in where I need to go. And if you don't like it, go the other way.
right,
Cause
right.
I don't
But
we've had to fight enough, and the fact that an event again that makes thousands and thousands of dollars on a
imagine
gate.
what they've made this year if that's their policy. This year alone, they've made.
And it's crooked. But we got about 10 minutes left in this show, and I meant, Miss Winnie, I want to throw it over to you for just a second, because you've had a chance to kind of absorb all this as a mom yourself. What would you have done? What do you think could have been done differently? Because you wouldn't have left, I don't think, till you talked to the manager. I I I I kind of know, but I just want to see what your thoughts are on something maybe that could have been done different before they left, or after they got off the phone.
Okay, so they were on the phone, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So being on the phone is a whole nother level.
Yeah, I was on.
Um,
Yeah, I was on the phone, and then I went in there the very next day. My cousin actually went to the venue to let me hear what they were going to say, and they told him the same thing. But he had even been to that venue too to see other concerts and was never double, triple charged for anything. So I want to know, like, when did this start happening? And like I said, if this has started happening recently, imagine how much money they've made from the disabled community for people that just paid them because they wanted to see help. I didn't want to do that
So you were saying, Miss Winnie, being on
because
the
I felt
phone
like it was unfair.
is a whole nother
So
ball game.
I say, I,
I remember the conversation. I'm sorry. I just. Ooh.
okay, I'm saying being on the phone is a whole different level. So if you're on the phone, you should be able to talk to somebody above the person you were talking to. And if you can't get in touch, if they won't, because sometimes they'll find reasons and excuses. I've been there before, where I'm on a conversation with a customer service rep, and I'm not satisfied with their response. Let me speak to a supervisor. I am the supervisor. Well, let me speak to somebody above you, because evidently you're not understanding what I'm trying to ask. And I don't want to talk to you anymore. So can you let me speak to someone above you? And if I don't get that, I promise you, I have hung up the phone and I called back and I got somebody that understood where what I was saying and where I was coming from. Because sometimes on the phone, you can't get that person that's just totally rude, disrespectful, or may not even know what the heck is going on and
Mm.
just giving answers they don't even know that's right or wrong. So sometimes it's okay to hang up the phone, call back, and get somebody different. I've done that so many times. And you want to get to a higher person because they do got steps and
Oh,
levels
so
to
did
go to.
I.
Yeah. So it's okay to do that,
But Mr.
and
Supervisor, whoever he is, he's been avoiding. That's what's going on too. If I call back, he's gonna avoid me because he's already done it like 2, 3 times. Mind you, today is what, the 26th? I've called back since then, and to only hear he's not available. Well, who is?
what's his
Because
name?
at this point, I don't care who available.
What's his name? Do you know his name? Did they give you
Your
his
guess
name?
is as good as mine because they won't tell. No, they won't
So they
tell me
won't give
that.
you his
They'll just
name.
tell me he's not available.
So you asked for the
No,
supervisor.
and that's my husband. That's why my husband. Well, my husband did reach out to the team, to his team, and no one responded there either. So I'm glad that I've been talking with you guys because I'm kind of stuck as to where to go now because I'm
Well,
being avoided.
I think the first thing to answer that question is when you get somebody in a corner, you have to be careful with emotion because every time you talk about, I can see the emotion just rise, and it does that because it bothers you. But you've got to get somebody that's in your corner that's going to know how to deal with emotion. So what I will do once I get off the air here, I'm gonna concur with my boss lady in a separate conversation, and I think the two of us will probably tag team it because, or heck, she may just clothesline it by herself. She's pretty good at that kind of stuff. But I'm just
It's
it's
it's so wrong. It's so wrong. Even Kayla, what's her name? Kayla.
mm-hmm.
Even Kayla's situation, so wrong. I feel like this. Just give me a minute to let me say something. I feel like this. If you go in a place like that, I don't think that a discount is necessary, okay? Just because you have a disability. You didn't ask, I'm just saying because somebody made a comment. I feel like if you're going in a venue to attend an event, disability or no disability, you pay the price
Mm-hmm.
unless they have it. So you just pay the price. Um, and you should only have to pay for one seat. That's it. If it's you, you pay for one seat. If it's your husband or friend, you pay for one individual seat. That's it. Whether you're in a wheelchair or no wheelchair, you should not have to pay double prices just to roll your chair in the space they moving the chair from.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a problem with that because I never ever want to experience that. I remember here in Norfolk where they had the graduations at, and we went to the grad. I forget the over at Dominion, over at Dominion,
Mm-hmm.
Dominion University, and I forget what the venue is called. That what is it called? Yeah, the TED Complication Center. Complication Center. Com- what? Yeah, that center. So, so you have the level part, right? And you can walk over, you can see down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those areas where they put the fold up chairs. So I remember this one particular time. I forget, I think it was my oldest granddaughter birthday. I mean graduation, and we get there with my daughter, and I said, "Can we move one of those seats so I can put my daughter's chair here?" And the lady just kindly moved the seat so we could put the chair there. Or
Mm-hmm.
if it was room to slide it down and not go over the aisle for the next rows, then she would just slide it down. But I just have an issue with situations where they're asking for you to pay for an extra seat. They're asking for an extra tuition for an aide to come in with an individual that needs her by their side for whatever reason it is, and it's none of their business.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a law and it should be written that this should take place for people that need it. If they have it written where you could bring a companion dog in, then you should be able to bring a companion person in if you need it.
Because
It
it's the
should be
same.
written.
It's the same thing.
It
It's the
is. It's
same.
necessary for
And
some reason, for whatever reason. If it's necessary, she need or he need their companion wherever they go. It should be written that that should be allowed.
you know,
This is frustrating for real.
I'm
Like
I'm
this is
I'm I'm
sad.
reading this comment right here, and this is what I want to end the show on because this sums it up right here. I want to make something straight and clear. Just because we have a disability of some kind doesn't make us different people. Just don't they just don't understand our world that we live in, and we've got to learn to see all of us the same like everybody else. All we want to be,
Well,
all we all we want to be is just a,
unfortunately, some people in society don't see it like that.
and it the simplest thing is if you take off this.
Just see the
Understand what I'm
person. Just see the person.
yeah. I meant if you take off the mask and you stop looking at what you see
Hmm.
and stop going, this person disabled, this person black, this person white, this person's this, you got all this stuff. If you can just step back for a second and realize that we are people,
Yeah.
that all we're trying to do is have some fun. I
Yeah.
don't
Just do what
care.
everybody else do. That's it.
I remember, and I wasn't going to share this story, but when I was little, I was 5 years old, I was 6 years old, and my class was going on a trip to the aquarium, or it was either the aquarium or Washington D.C. or something I wanted to go on, and they called my mama and told my mama we can't find anybody to go with him, so you might want to keep him home. let me keep this nice and clean because my mama said, wait a minute, we gave you so and so odd dollars so you can keep my son home because you couldn't find anybody. You know what? I'm going to go with my son. And I will go with my son. And my son will go on this field trip. You try to keep my son home. I will drive him in my car and take him and follow that stupid little yellow bus that y'all got just so he can go. Oh, we were going to the zoo. That's what it was. And I that in a it doesn't apply to this situation exactly, but you will we don't get many perks as disabled people. Okay. Fortunately, we come with our own seats. It is what it is. One thing I know how to do is sit down well. I've been sitting down well for 40 years. And hopefully, God willing, I'm going to sit down for 40 more. But if you charge me for 80 years of sitting down instead of 40, I ain't going to pay for it. That's wrong.
I'm so
That's
sorry you
wrong.
went through that, Ree, you and your husband. And you know, let's just do the right thing, and
Mhm.
that's, you know, write letters to the venue and write letters to Tracy Morgan's team until we get answers from someone. And we're not going to give up, because the last thing we want to hear is someone else going through this. And if we can prevent it because of your experience, then yes, it's so worth it. It is so worth it because it's for the community, and you should not have to feel like that. And Tracy Morgan, now you know what, I'm going to go a little too far.
Woo!
Yes, see. That's why I
But
said,
see,
yeah.
that's what she's talking about. See, she stopped because Miss Winnie sometimes will say, you know what, I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna step back, I'm gonna sit back, and I'm gonna watch. Okay, and then I'll get on the phone, I'll be calm. Hey, how you doing? And just, we're gonna work on this. Give us a little bit of time.
Yeah, we're going to work on it. Definitely going to work on it. DJ asked me something earlier, and if it was if it was a situation with me, with my daughter on the phone, like I said, I would have wanted to speak to a higher person, and I wouldn't have stopped, and I would have hung up, and I would have tried again, and if I couldn't get someone, I would have waited again another day or something, or call back later, depending on what time it was that I called, because I would be determined to want to talk to someone, because with your situation, it is the principle behind the whole thing. And with that situation, if it was to be me, it would be the principle behind it. And you want answers. You want answers. You stop me from being able to enjoy something that everybody else get to enjoy, because you want me to pay $55 extra per ticket plus taxes and fees, which is not right and it's not fair to me and my husband. Nor is it fair to any other disabled person in this community that want to go to
And
this
that's
venue. And if it's not written in your, if it's not written, then you should not be charging me that. And you have a
Oh,
problem with that. And that should be taken a little further. So we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And you can say this to the people. Well, you know what? I've tried to call you several times and I have yet to get any answers. So I think I'm gonna just have to take this a little further. So
mm.
sometimes when you go a little further with that, they wanna, you know, put you on the phone with somebody else. But don't let it go. This is
Well,
so important for everybody else. And there's
hmm
other people in Wilmington, Delaware that need your voice and need your fight. And so many other people. I'm glad
because
you're talking about it. I'm glad you didn't let it go.
right,
I'm glad your husband didn't fight at that moment and he said what he said. But it's all of this is so wrong. It's so wrong. What's your view on this, Wilson?
bringing in the big wheels. Come
He
on,
just
man.
uh-oh.
he don't want to talk right now. He just said it's wrong.
What I meant. Look, the thing about it is, and I'm gonna close with this. Y'all, y'all know me. I've done 112 of these, and 112 got me a little fired up. But I'm gonna tell you, the problem is you can't place blame just on one thing. Okay, this is wrong on so many levels. On the same thing, like I like how Miss Winnie said, I'm going to give Tracy Morgan's team the benefit of the doubt because they're coming from the outside in. They may have not known. So I don't want
Exactly.
to. So I don't want to
Exactly.
place blame, on
On his
Tracy
team.
Morgan or his
Right.
team.
Right.
If I can get free tickets to your next show, let me know because I like your stuff, bro. I'm just saying, you know, as far as it goes, here's the choice that you have. When you have a problem like this, you can get mad at it, but don't stay there. We talk about this every week. You can get upset, but don't stay there. Okay? There's a proper way and a proper way to do things and a proper way and time to do things for everything. And what I love about this,
That's true.
as emotional as Miss Minnie, Lord Jesus, as Miss Winnie was coming into this situation from the outside in, it affects people. And
It does. It
stories
does.
like this, when you spend an hour and 6 minutes and 3 seconds talking about a topic like this
Because
is
it's
going
very important.
this is going to grab people.
Hmm.
Now you've opened the door for people with disabilities to say, you know what? I'm going to go to that event. I'm going to try to get in. I'm going to try to fight to make my voice heard, because you have to fight for what you believe in. And I do want to say this as we go off the air. This lady over here is a fighter. She has been a fighter and an advocate for herself, her daughter, her family. And you have to be a fighter and an advocate for yourself as much as you do for other people. But you have to remember that you deserve to have fun and do things that you want to do as well. Don't not go to something because you think you can't. Don't not do something because you're scared of it. Because that's the one thing that this lady taught me is sometimes you got to get a fire lit under your butt and do it anyway in fear because you're scared of that. Do it anyway because you never know what's going to happen if you give yourself a chance. But also believe in yourself because you deserve to be heard. That is probably the biggest thing. This is not a little situation. Don't let it go. I agree with what Miss Winnie said. You should not let
Oh,
something like this go because if
I
you,
know she ain't letting it go. She ain't letting it go.
but I mean, I'm
She
talking
ain't
about
letting it
people.
go.
I'm talking
Hmm.
about people that are sitting there going, "It's not that big a deal." Yes, it is.
It's the principle.
Yeah,
It's the principle.
I even
And
had
if
a
they were
friend
in
tell
this
me it's not
situation,
that
they would
serious.
understand.
I had a
Mm,
friend tell me it wasn't that serious. Just order the tickets and give them to someone else.
You
And I was like,
don't.
no.
You
If
don't.
I
That's
wanted to
that's a
take
hundred
four
and
people, I
something
would have paid
dollars.
for four people.
That's $100 and some. You should not have to spend $100 and something for something you're not using. And why give it to
mm-hmm,
somebody else when you don't have to pay for it in
mm-hmm.
the beginning? It
Yeah,
don't make sense. And if it's not written in their
But like,
policy, they should not have said that to you.
yeah, yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't even if they have where you can pick your seats, and do they have where you can pick your seats at that venue?
yes. Yes, they did.
I would have, girl, listen. I would learn how to go around all of that and pick them seats. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. I'm gonna show you something real quick. And oh wait a minute, I did the wrong thing. Hold on. Okay, you can talk. I'm gonna pull something up. Hold on.
As Dag, I didn't call her all sorts of names. As as
Yeah,
my
you
mom
did. Well, we know who you
uh,
talking about.
as my mama is getting ready to pull something up, I want to read this comment from Siobhan too. Anytime you are insulted as a disabled person, it is a big deal, and
Yeah.
it's serious, and you
Yes.
have the right
Yes.
to your convictions and opinions.
Yes.
That right there, um that right there is so important. People take things and they dismiss them as if they
Yeah.
don't matter.
And
Okay,
it does.
but see, here's the thing: we get dismissed all the time as if we don't matter. So if you look at what happens, you get the ball rolling and nothing matters no more, and nobody fights for anything.
Right.
You got to put in the effort to get the effort out of it. Go ahead, Miss Winnie. I think you got it.
Okay. So this is what I want to show you. So this is how it's made, right?
Uh
This is how the
huh.
seating is.
Right.
Yeah, it
And
is. Yeah,
right,
it
and the
is.
red seats are the companion seats, and the blue spots are where you can put a wheelchair. You see down the bottom there.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, right here.
when if you don't need the red seats, you shouldn't have to purchase the red seats.
Right.
If you just need those two blue seats, that's all you should be able to purchase.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if they're telling you you need to purchase other seats, it's so wrong. That should never happen. This is all we do. We go in there and we purchase those two seats, and we purchase two companion seats.
Where did you pull that up at, Miss Wynn? Is that the place she was at, or is
No,
that?
no, I'm saying this is how it is at the
No,
movie
that's the
theater.
one.
Oh,
It's
okay.
how it is
Oh,
at the
okay.
movie theater,
Okay.
and you just pick whatever seats you want. So again, you got the red
Now
seats,
you could.
and the seat that's clear,
Mm-hmm.
um, on companion seats, and then the two blue spots is the wheelchair spot,
Right. Right.
and that's it. So you could pick if it's one companion, you pick one companion and the one wheelchair spot. You should not have to buy two spots. It should never be like that. And I am just so mad with that, and I'm so glad you're talking about it. I'm so glad you didn't let it go, and you want answers, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how it should be. Want answers. Don't let nobody tell you to let it go because it is the principle. And you
Right.
want to get back out again. And what if there's something else come to that
Yeah,
venue that you want to go to again, and then you be like, I don't want to go because this happened to me the
and
first
that's
time.
how I
Right.
was looking
Right.
at it.
Right.
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 That's
Mm-hmm.
So
how I was looking
if
at it.
you get to the bottom of it and you come to a resolution with the venue, then you know how to move forward, from that point.
Right.
Because don't limit yourself because of what someone said. Get to the bottom of it. And I'm willing to walk with you. DJ willing to walk with you.
Okay.
Because you need answers. And we need them.
Mm.
We need some letters. We need to get some letters written. And you know what? And if you have to take it higher than that, honey,
Congress, hello. Senator, hello.
you
Yeah.
get an attorney.
Oh. I'm an attorney. All right. I'm gonna call Calvis and Nackman and bust up the hurt line. They-
So, but you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you're talking about it. That's what I want to say. And you didn't let it go because it is necessary. Because you want to get out in in the community because you want to be included and be able to do things just like an able-bodied person that only have to buy one chair, and that's all you should be. Even if it's not a chair you need, you should have to pay for one seat.
we will,
One seat.
Kayla. We will let you know. We will let you know once we
Yeah.
get.
Definitely a updated show on this would be definitely great, so you all can know how the process is going. But I would say give her at least a month. I would say at least a month to find information. And if it's before then between her and DJ, they could come up with a show.
Right. Right.
You know, if you don't have anybody else in a show already. But I would say at least 30 days to get there, get answers, and at least reach Tracy Morgan team as well to even let them know what this is what happened to me. This is what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you want him to know because you want to make sure that it don't happen to another disabled couple, family, or single
Exactly.
person. Period.
And
Again,
and and who's to say before we end the show? Who's to say that Tracy Morgan doesn't say, you know what? I don't want to. If they're going to do that to disabled people, I don't want to perform there. I don't want to be at that event because I support disabled people. And that's not right. We it you got
well,
to look at.
Tracy Morgan had a situation that happened. He was in an accident for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He was in an
Yeah.
Yep.
accident, but
I
was sick
remember
for a
that.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Right.
I am glad we did this show. I'm glad I brought Miss Winnie in because it makes a difference when you
Oh, so
have
much. Thank you
it's
guys.
it's it's I was glad to do it. Thank you for being part of the show, Miss Ree. It was great. We're gonna have you on again. We're gonna do some research and try to see what we can do. But there is always a way to get to the bottom of the barrel. Sometimes you just gotta dig around to get through the stuff to get to it. So
Okay, so
uh,
one more thing I want to say, it just made me think about it. I don't understand the process of why they want you to call, right? if you're disabled, why they want you to call. They want to
Mhm.
be nosy to me. So if you don't need this is my opinion.
Exactly.
If you don't need help and you just need two seats, I would just buy two seats. Why I gotta buy two seats if I don't need help? I As long as y'all got
But see
accessibility
here,
where I can roll in and do whatever, I don't need help. I just want to get to my seat. That's it. So
here was
I
here's
feel
was
like
my
they
fear
made
though.
that.
Like if I would have paid for two, I would have paid for two seats on the app. My fear was, well, when I get there, since you're screaming about your policy, am I gonna get there and then you charge me more money? And with our transportation here, once I'm there, I would have been there until my pickup time.
They
And
can't.
that
They
was my
can't do that.
concern, like me
They
just being.
they they can't. Once you pay for something, once you have a receipt to say, woo, Jesus. Once you have a receipt to say that you paid to get in the show,
I,
they can't charge you for something extra. They can't turn around and say because you're disabled you have to do this, because that's a lawsuit waiting to happen right there.
Well, this should be a lawsuit period because it ain't nowhere in
Oh
the
yeah,
policy
yeah.
where
I
you
ain't.
didn't have to. You they tried to make you
yeah.
pay for things you didn't need.
Hmm. That's true.
So
Well,
give us some
before.
answers and let us figure out why this happened in the first place.
Hmm.
Why are they asking those with disabilities to call when it's unnecessary to even make a phone call when I know how to get around in my wheelchair? My husband knows how to get around in his wheelchair.
Right.
Why should I have to make a phone call? So y'all, I feel like they did that because they want to be nosy. They're asking extra questions to make their own individual scenario in reference to that. Because
That's
to
it.
ask for two extra tickets because of whatever you may have said, it's still unnecessary. It's not right. It's just wrong. It's just totally wrong altogether. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody in the disabled community should have to deal with that or go through that.
Well, before we get on court,
Mm.
before we get on court TV with DJ Carter and the gang, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show for now because this one here,
Okay.
uh, we could probably do two or three on it. But guys, thank y'all for tuning into the show today. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at mycpdoesnotdefineme at yahoo.com. I want to thank the visionary Miss Edwina Wilson. Miss Reed for being on the show with us today. Honored to have you as a guest and just to have you, tell your story. Thank you for sharing. Please share the show on social
Wait, hold
media.
on.
Oh, well.
So we
Oh,
need
I
to
will.
know information. And if it's someone within this community um, or live in that area, and if you know anything about that venue, if you know anything about that, and you want to help with finding out answers and a solution to this, listen, we're open.
Yes.
We're definitely open. You can reach out to DJ or myself, and we could come up with answers, and get in touch with Reed so we can have this thing continue going on so we can get down to the bottom of this
Yep.
because this should definitely not happen to anybody else in the disabled community. So kudos to you, Reed, for not stepping down on this, not letting it go
Mm-hmm.
because it matters and you matter and your husband matter and the community that you represent, they matter too,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So don't give up, keep fighting this thing. We with you all the
Thank
way.
you.
And we
Thank you.
trust me, we're gonna find some answers because there's more people in the community that
Yep.
needs
Yep.
this.
But you guys, I always say if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. Tune in next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for episode 113 of My CP Does Not Define Me. We will see you when we see you. Have a great one, everybody.
All right, y'all take care.
Take care.
All right. Bye bye.
Now hold on, Reese. I mean Reese.